Before winter break, we were learning how to draw landscapes using a forest scene to help us learn about overlap. We learned about how things in the background are smaller and things in the front or the foreground are larger. We learned how things in the way background are lighter in color, and then as things get closer to us, color is darker. And we learned about how things that are closer to us are lower on the page, and things that are farther away are higher up on the page. Now it's time for us to leave the forest and continue learning about landscapes in the city or cityscapes. So we are going to start with a horizontal line across the very middle of the paper. We'll draw a road that will lead us out of the forest and back into the city. So I put a point in the middle of my horizontal line and I'm tracing along to the corners of my paper. There's a couple of ways that you can choose to do this. You could either have it be a straight and narrow road like the one I just drew, or you could put that point anywhere on the line and still connect it to the two bottom corners. You could put the dot on the right side of the line and connect it to the two corners and still have a triangle. You could put the dot on the left side of the line or the right side of the line and have a curved line connecting to the corners. You can choose which of these three you would like to do for our drawing today. We are going to add some details to help us see this road in perspective. Perspective means the way that we see three-dimensional objects in the world. This first tree that I'm drawing is going to be the biggest tree in my picture. So it's the lowest on the page and it's going to be the biggest tree or the tallest tree going almost all the way to the top of the page. And I want this to be an evergreen tree. You can draw whatever kind of a tree you want to. You could have a deciduous tree that has leaves that fall off in the autumn. I decided to draw an evergreen tree because I think that's what I'm most familiar with drawing lately during our perspective lessons. The other trees that I draw are going to be smaller than this one because they are going to be farther away in space. So the tree that I draw next is going to be higher up on the page, just a little bit, and it will not be as big. It'll be a little bit shorter so that it looks like it's natural to this environment. It's a little bit smaller and it's a little bit higher up on the page, but it's going to be the same kind of a tree. At this point, I'm adding another line going from that point where the road ends at the top of that triangle and going to the middle of the page. I'm going to have some water on that side of the road. I'm going to color the water in blue. And it's going to create the illusion that we're driving alongside the water. Near the point at the top of the triangle at the end of the road, I'm drawing a small cityscape, a small collection of buildings, and they're very, very small compared to the trees because they're so far away. So we're creating the illusion that we are driving toward the city. Right now I'm adding in the blue so you can see how it's going to look like a waterway. Maybe it'll look like Lake Michigan or Lake Huron. Could also look like Lake St. Clair or a river or a lake. I'm going to fast forward through my coloring just a little bit, just going to speed it up so it doesn't take too long, but you can be creative with the colors that you choose. At this point, I'm working on coloring in the sky. You can choose what colors you want to use. You could have a regular blue sky, or you could have a sunrise or a sunset. Remember that things that are farther away are going to be lighter in shade, lighter in color. So the part of the sky that's farthest away is actually the part by the horizon line, and the part that's up at the top of the page is actually going to be closer to us. So I'm doing a darker part of the sky at the top of the page and a lighter color of the sky toward the bottom. I'm actually using two different kinds of blue, and as I get toward the horizon, I'm coloring lighter.